How does one ensure that which is priceless? She let that hang in the air for a moment, and then leaned forward. Don't lose them. The Vampire Knitting Club met that night, but Sylvia had sworn me to secrecy. The vampire knitters might be the closest she had to friends, but I could tell she didn't trust them, at least not with her priceless collection of jewels. Gran wasn't on the secret, though. She looked delighted when she came upstairs through the trap door from the subterranean apartments that some of them shared below my shop. She said, "Lucy, isn't it exciting? You're going to be a film star." I nearly choked, but Sylvia made it sound like she genuinely was choking. A film star? She'll be wearing my jewels, a stunning collection that once did belong to a film star back when people understood what glamour really was. I had to hide my smile as she struck a pose like Greta Garbo in an old black-and-white movie. Gran hastily covered over her blunder by saying, "That's what I meant, dear. Just wearing such a fabulous set of jewels will make Lucy feel like a star, I'm sure." Sylvia sniffed. "I ought to be wearing them myself, but my lawyer insists it would be a dangerous thing to do." I glanced at Gran and both our eyes widened. I couldn't imagine a worse idea than Sylvia showing up when she had supposedly been dead for decades. That was the thing. If she'd been undead for centuries, she'd get away with it. But she didn't look that different from the silent screen star she had been. Wandering around the streets of Oxford, she could pass for anyone. But in the company of people who were remaking her most famous movie, there might be some seriously raised eyebrows. And that kind of scrutiny was what the local vampires always tried to avoid. Fortunately, Sylvia knew that wearing the jewels herself was impossible. As though to take her mind off the disappointment, Gran pulled out a paper bag with the Cardinal Woolsey logo stamped on it and said, "I've had the most wonderful idea. I saw the new Teddy Lamont magazine with this darling sweater knit in a diamond stitch, and he's got a whole range of jewel-coloured wools. I'm making it in red and exactly your size, Lucy." I loved it when the vampires knitted me sweaters. Even though I had a wardrobe full of them, it was always nice to have something new to wear around the shop. Naturally, since Gran knitted at supersonic speed, she already had the back done and part of one sleeve. At her pace, I'd be wearing the garment tomorrow. "My idea is to make one in every colour. What do you think, dear? We could display them on the back wall of the shop." I was very enthusiastic about the idea. It would really draw people in. "Gran, that's a fantastic idea." Hester, the perennially whiny teenager, had pulled herself up into the back room as though she were dragging herself out of a coffin. She let out a huge sigh. "Nice for some. No one ever asks me if I might like to make something for the shop." We all turned to stare at her. Hester was not known for helping others. Then Gran, who was the nicest vampire in the world, said, "I'd be thrilled for you to do one, my dear. Which colour do you like best?" Hester looked at the array of red and gold and green and sapphire blue and said, "Black." What was the point? Gran said, "It's not quite in keeping with our theme, though, is it? Do you think maybe you could try this blue colour? It would look lovely with your eyes." That caught her attention. Since we had a new vampire in town, a young Spaniard named Carlos, Hester had actually been attempting to improve her appearance and, at least when he was around, her attitude. Sadly, he wasn't here, so she'd reverted to the sulky Hester we all knew and didn't love. She snapped, "Fine," and held out her hand impatiently. Gran grew flustered. "Well, I don't have it here. I'll have to go to the front of the shop and get you everything you'll need." She glanced at me, looking apologetic. "Is that all right, Lucy?" "I don't run the Vampire Knitting Club. I only provide the venue. It doesn't matter to me if we're a little late starting." And so Gran took Hester to the shop for wool and supplies for the intricate sweaters they were going to knit. I settled down with the much less glamorous hat I was knitting. I thought if I really worked at it, I could have this finished by next week. I didn't have many finished projects that I could be proud of. I really needed to start pulling my weight in the knitting department. I only wished I enjoyed knitting more.